Hi, welcome to Fly Little Birds. If you're new here, my name is Nairi. I've got 2 adopted sons and this channel is about adoption, fostering, childhood trauma and parenting. And this suggestion of a video has come from a channel member, so thank you, Mary, and we're going to get straight into it. So it's about change, transition, how to help adopted children or children with childhood trauma to actually work through transition and change. And this is a big one because from my experience of my adopted sons, they don't like change at all. They would keep everything exactly the same as they could. Even as they get older and they're teenagers, they would just keep things the same as when we first met them when they were 2 and 3. So I'm going to go through 10 points with you and I hope that this will help you. So my first point is have a calendar on the wall if your child's old enough to kind of see that and understand that of when the event's going to happen. So let me give you some examples of changes or transitions that children struggle with. It could be a new activity, it could be a new relative they're meeting, a new professional, it could be moving to a new school, moving class, going into nursery, moving house, a new baby on the way, you name it, it's out there. So have that event on a calendar so they can mark off the days with you, because children struggle with time. So they may think that this is going to happen a lot sooner than it is, or they may think they've got a long time to wait for it to happen. But if you cross off the days, then they can see where that goes. And that's going to link in with another point I have for you later. My point number 2 is, if you're able to ask for a staged approach for the professionals that are involved with you, so say it's a new school or new class and you know that your child's going to struggle with that transition, then don't be afraid to fight your corner and ask for a staged approach. So it could be that if they're going to start school full time, you ask for it to just be the mornings for a couple of weeks. Now, I do admit that sometimes professionals, particularly schools, just really struggle with this. I'm working with you on it, but you are there to fight the corner for your child. If you know they're going to struggle, then ask away, because people can only say no. Same with a club or activity, a new friendship. Just go in slower than what maybe other people might expect, and just keep pulling back if you feel that it's not working very well. Be afraid to kind of put the brakes on and hold back from a little bit. Linking with the calendar, a homemade book or journal, scrapbook, whatever way you want to describe it, while your child puts entries in to help them to prepare for when this is going to happen. So if it's a new classroom, a new school, hopefully you'll have some sort of information around that you can cut out and put in a book. You can let them do their own drawings, their own little writings if they're old enough. If you're going to go away on holiday, then you might have a brochure they can cut and stick and just make their own little book. So it could be just paper, could be some cardboard you've got, and put it together, kind of actually make it with them and have the pages there, and then they are working out some of their anxieties into that book. So that's my point number 3. My point number 4 is, if you can get a friendship going for your child, or you can link with another parent who is going to be involved in the same activity or the same classroom or whatever it is you're doing, then if you make the friendship with the parent, you can ask questions of the parent. You can actually offload a little bit yourself and describe to them some of the situations you might go through with your child, and then that parent's going to be the one person that understands when things don't go great and actually supports you. But also, if a little friendship can be formed, it doesn't have to be anything great, but so that your child has a named person that they know is going to be at that activity, that they know is going to be in that classroom, that they know is going to be part of their change of routine. If there's a new relative that you're going to meet, then perhaps there's another relative that already knows them. Again, you're going to help that transition. So getting to know people basically for your child, a friend for them and a friend for you, it's really going to help both of you go through that transition time. And talk often, that's my number 5. So sometimes you feel like you need to avoid things with your children because you know it's causing them anxiety, so you don't talk about it. And in my opinion, that is the wrong thing to do. You need to talk often about it. So let me give you an example. Say there's a new baby coming. We have a new baby coming. Yes, I'm going to be a grandparent again. I'm so excited. Are my boys excited about it? Probably not. Are they anxious about it? Almost definitely. So what do? Do I go quiet about it? No, I don't. I keep talking about it. Now, I don't talk about it just before they're going to go to bed. I don't talk about it when they're in the middle of doing something they enjoy, but I will describe to them the event and what might happen. So when the baby might be due, what might happen when the baby's born, how often we might see my daughter with the baby, what we might need to do to support her, kind of make all those assumptions from the children that they may not understand about what it's like having a new baby in the family. Now, my boys have gone through that. They have been their uncles, which is really odd. They're 13 and 14 and they're uncles to two other children in the family. And actually, as time's gone on, they've seen the massive benefit of that. And to be able to be not the youngest children anymore, they've loved it in effect. So now they know that this next new baby coming along, they don't need to dread it so much. They have some awareness of what it's going to be like. But for the first baby that came along in the family, they were really, really anxious, and we needed to prepare them, and we collected photographs when the baby was born for them, of them holding the baby. So my next point is point number 6. Got a little bit lost there, wasn't quite sure where I was going. Point number 6 is the attachment toy. Now, attachment toys work really well for younger children, and I admit it's a lot harder with older children. However, it's not impossible. So I think it's important that when your child is away from you, if the anxiety is about a change or something and they're going to be away from you, that they have something to represent you, because you cannot be there. And a lot of the anxiety around change and moving to new schools and classrooms and nurseries or starting clubs is about being away from you. And this is where the childhood trauma comes in, the attachment problems come in, the anxiety around attachment, and the fact that even if you've had your child for a long time, there's still problems around attachment. If you have an attachment toy, it's a reminder of you. Now, I admit that some schools will not allow this to happen, and some nurseries will not allow this to happen. But if you can fight the corner and ask for this particular toy to go into school, to go into nursery, to go to the club or activity, to go to the new friend's house, and that perhaps those people put the toy to one side so it doesn't get lost. So it doesn't mean that your child has to wander around preschool with a toy hanging off of them, which is then going to get lost or broken or disappear. Perhaps the toy has to be put in a drawer on a shelf somewhere where they can see it. However, it's a reminder that they're going to go back home and they're going to see you later and everything's going to be okay. If it can't be an actual toy, it could be a thing. It could be something in a packed lunchbox. It could just be a reminder of home. So number 7 is a bit more of a fun one, going to cost you a bit of money, yes it is getting ready for that event. So if it's a new activity, you go out together and you enjoy buying the little things that you might need to do that for this new club. If it's going to school, or you're going back to school in September or August, if you're in a different country than me, then they're already going back to school. We're not there yet. It doesn't happen until September for us. You've gone out and bought them a new lunchbox, a new lunch bag. You've gone out and got them a new pen case with some new pencils in, and you've tried to get them excited about it. You've tried to get them to understand it's not all negative just because it's new and different. There's some fun things that you can do around it. So yeah, it's a practical one. Yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's fun, and most parents will do that anyway. But I suppose what I'm saying is you could plan the list of things that you need to go and get with the child. So it's like, okay, we know we're going to start a new club, we know we're going to start a new friendship, we know we're going to start going back to school in a minute. What's the things that we're going to need to do? What are the things that we need to buy, things we need to think about? Make the list with the child to get them involved, to get them thinking positively about the event. The next idea is a little bit more therapeutic, a little bit more technical. We're on number 8 now, and that is to use treasure deck cards. Now, I've shown them on my channel before, so if you look back on the channel, you look at the resources that you can use with adopted and foster children, you look on Amazon and treasure deck cards will be there. I'll try to link them in the description below. My link will only be for UK because I didn't make it with the USA, that got abandoned. So yeah, I'll put a link for treasure deck cards below. There's different ones that you can get, and this is helping your child to talk about their emotions, talk about their anxieties. Go with caution, they are therapeutic cards, so you need to just go with caution a little bit, but it's trying to get deeper, go a little bit deeper and talk about what the anxieties are. I will assure you it will be about leaving you mostly, but it'll also probably be about the other children that are there, friendships that need to be made. If it's a new baby or a new child or a new relative coming into the situation, it will be about being detached from you and you giving more attention to that relative or child, more than likely. If it's, say, a new relative they're meeting, it's kind of that stranger issue and that childhood trauma about whether that adult's safe. You know, it'll be around those things. So you will be digging deeper. You might trigger them, and so you do need to be careful around using them. So my next point for you is, not always possible, I know, but can be asked. You can ask to stay. So yeah, that will be hard in a school, I realise, and that might work against your child because then they won't connect with the other friendships there. But different things like activities or going to a new home, meeting a new friend, you can ask, can I stay with my child for the first time, or can I stay for an hour? Because you don't have to just be brave and drop your child off and go, because if your child's really sad and upset and so are you, then actually if you think staying for a little while is going to help them, then ask to do that. Or if you think you can help in the activity or the classroom for a little bit, then do that. If it helps to ease that transition for your child, do whatever it takes, even if you feel a bit silly asking. So my last point is, number 10, is the keeping close. What's the word I'm looking for? The keeping close technique. Okay, it's not really a technique, but I've talked about keeping close a lot on my channel. If you look back on my videos, you'll see it features there. I find it works for me. Keeping close is all about hugging often, touching often. If your child, doesn't mind touch, eye contact, that type of thing, and actually go above and beyond where that's concerned. Because if anxiety is building, then keeping close and having the child having that physical awareness of you being around. Obviously, if you're talking about a younger child, you're going to do that anyway. But if your child is approaching school age, sometimes it's not as natural to be hugging them a lot or sitting close to them or just having that tactileness around them. But I think if anxiety is building around a transition, that's a really good time to practice keeping close. Hope that's helped you. Check out my channel. There are lots of things on there, lots of playlists, lots of videos. Join membership if you want to, that's open. Subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you on Fly Little Birds. Thank you.